All right, hello and welcome everybody to the Smithsonian Learning Lab's online office hours. My name is Tess Porter and I'm an educator and digital content producer here at the Smithsonian Center for Learning and Digital Access, the office behind the Smithsonian Learning Lab. We hold these office hours just about every Tuesday from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern. You can keep updated with our schedule by visiting the URL here on the screen. These office hours are a perfect time to get questions that you have about the Smithsonian Learning Lab answered. For the next hour, I'll be here sitting on YouTube or Facebook, wherever you're joining me on today, and we'll be answering questions from you throughout. I can help with a lot of different types of things, spanning from a general introduction to the Learning Lab and how it works, a deeper dive into some of the tools on the Learning Lab. For example, if you want to learn how to create your first Learning Lab collection, I can help you with that. I can also help with things like searching for resources and pre-created interactive learning experiences or collections that can help support whatever type of learning experience you'd like to build or are working on right now. So if you have a question, you can enter it at any time using one of two methods, depending on where you're joining us on today. If you're joining us on YouTube, you can enter questions at any time using the chat box, which you'll see to the right of the video. And if you're joining us on Facebook, you can submit questions at any time using the comment box, which you'll see below the video. Again, I'll be answering questions throughout today's session, so please don't hesitate to send a question over to me. So to get us started here today, I'm going to navigate over to the Learning Lab itself. If this is your first time joining us, you can follow along by visiting the URL at the bottom of the slide, learninglab.si.edu. I'm going to go ahead and open another tab where I've already got the lab preloaded. So if this is your first time joining us, I just wanted to begin with a quick introduction to what the Learning Lab is and how it works. The Learning Lab is a free online platform that was designed with teachers and students in mind, but it's available for anybody to use. On the site, you can discover digital museum resources, create interactive learning experiences, or what we call collections, with them, and share your discoveries and creations with others. The homepage is a wonderful introduction to what the site is and how it works. So here you'll learn a little bit more about the types of things you can discover on the site. For example, when I say resources, that includes many different types of things, such as objects, photographs, and artwork that typically kind of exist or you'd find within a museum's gallery. But they also include things like primary source documents, blog posts, articles, video and audio recordings, and a whole lot more. On the site, you'll also learn a bit more about what you can create and how you can just share discoveries and creations with others. However, as I said, this office hours are open to anyone who has a question about the Smithsonian Learning Lab. So you can enter questions at any time and I'll be answering them throughout. I see we have a question here to start us off from Darshan. Thank you for joining us today. Darshan would like to learn a little bit more about the library services you offer. That is a great question. I'm really an expert on the Smithsonian Learning Lab, and so much of my knowledge is based on the platform and how it works. However, I can direct you to a website where you can learn more about the types of library services we offer more broadly here at the Smithsonian. And I can also give you an email address that you can contact, which will put you in touch with educators from across the Smithsonian. So here, let me reopen my shared screen. So what you're seeing here on this screen right now is the website for Smithsonian Libraries, which is located at library.si.edu. Let me put it in the chat here. This is the main portal for the libraries at the Smithsonian. And here you'll learn more about the types of library services we're able to offer here at the Smithsonian more broadly. So you should see the URL. I just put it through here in the chat. They also have a separate support and contact page, which you'll find here as well under About and Contact Us. So Darshan, I hope that is helpful. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about the Learning Lab and the types of resources we have available on this site, I'd be happy to go a little bit more in depth. What really makes us different than Smithsonian libraries is that we hold more records of more physical artifacts, as well as, you know, things like our websites and videos and lesson plans that we have available here through the Smithsonian. So we don't really focus on kind of the library or the book aspect that libraries does. Though you'll still be able to access some of their holdings through the site as well, such as their blog and some public records. So I hope that was helpful. I'm sorry I'm not able to go any more in depth than that, but I hope that's a good starting point. For the rest of you watching, if you're just joining us, we're just at the beginning of today's Smithsonian Learning Lab online office hours, which is a great time to pop in if you have a question about the Learning Lab. I'm an educator and digital content producer on the platform, and I'd be happy to help you learn a little bit more about the platform and talk about ways to find learning resources that can support you. So again, if you have a question, you can enter it at any time using the chat box if you're joining us on YouTube, or the comment box if you're joining us on Facebook. I'm answering questions throughout today's session, and I'm happy to help with whatever you need. I see we just have a new comment here, so let me read it first before I respond. Great. So Darshan, thanks again for your other comment here. I'll bring it up so other folks know what I'm addressing. So you're looking for information specifically about audiobooks, journal articles, or research databases. Do we offer access to any of these? I am not sure if Smithsonian Libraries offers public access to things like research databases or audiobooks. With that question in particular, I think reaching out to Smithsonian Libraries directly through their Contact Us would be the course of action that I recommend. They're really the experts on the types of things that they offer to the public. However, for journal articles, let me think for a moment. I think reaching out to them about that question would be what I would recommend as well. Through the Learning Lab, you do gain access to things like the different blogs through the different Smithsonian museums and research centers here, as well as Smithsonian Magazine. But as far as scholarly journal articles go, I don't believe it's possible to access those through here. I was just trying to remember, there was a journal that we used to produce called Anthronotes that I was trying to remember if you could access it through the lab, but I don't believe you can. So again, I'd recommend reaching out directly to Smithsonian Libraries to see the types of resources that they have available to the public. I hope that's helpful. Again, I'm sorry I'm not able to kind of dive deeper into that. It's where my knowledge unfortunately ends. I'll keep thinking though. Just trying to we offer access to a lot of different things in the lab, and I want to make sure I'm not forgetting something else that libraries makes available. So what I'm going to do is do a quick search for libraries in the lab, which will help me access all of the resources that Smithsonian Libraries makes available through the platform. if I remember correctly, it's links to a lot of the physical, oh, it's resources to physical books available in their library, but they also offer some scanned books as well. So what I did here is I did a search for libraries and to help me find resources connected with Smithsonian libraries in the Learning Lab. I can see here on the left, I have a couple different ways to narrow down my search. Smithsonian Libraries is right at the top. So this is going to show me everything we have from libraries in the lab. What I know is going to come through here are some links to their blog where they do some deep dives into records that they have available through the institution. Again, those physical records, but there are also some scanned books as well. So what you might think about doing, Darshan, just to make sure kind of all of the areas are checked, do a search in the Learning Lab with the topic that you're interested in, libraries, to help you narrow that down. So at least 2 keywords, libraries, and at least something else. And through there, you'll be able to see the resources that we have available here. Something to note about these, so you're going to see a lot that have a lot of green bars here and a lot of text. What these are links out to the Smithsonian Library's website, where they have information about these records, but they also often offer scanned versions of whatever the record is. I clicked on one of these to view it in greater detail. You can do that with any resource here at the lab. And when this page loads, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the information panel on the left here to navigate to the site itself. I can also hover on this thumbnail here to navigate directly. The reason I want to show you this is when you navigate to their library catalog, you'll often see an image of the book here. So this is one called New York Crystal Palace. If I click on that image, this is just the way their site is built, I'll be able to access the scanned version of this entire book, be able to flip through it page by page. And if I want to do more searching on their website, I can navigate back to books. I believe they're listed as online books, the ones that are available digitally. So very long answer. I hope at least parts of that were helpful, Darshan. If you have any other questions, please feel free to chime back in the chat. Again, for the rest of you watching, we're in the middle of Smithsonian Learning Lab online office hours, where I'm here to answer any questions you have about the Learning Lab. If you have a question, you can enter it at any time using the chat or comment box, depending on the platform you're joining us on. While I wait for the next question to come in, I'm going to turn off my camera briefly, but I will still be here, still watching the chat, and I'll come back as soon as the next question arrives. So, see you soon. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Smithsonian Learning Lab online office hours. My name is Tess Porter, and I'm an educator and digital content producer here at the Smithsonian Learning Lab. These office hours are a time to get questions answered that you have about the Learning Lab. I can help with things like a general introduction to what the Learning Lab is and how it works, a deeper dive into some of the tools and features on the platform. For example, I can show you how to build your first Learning Lab collection if that's something you'd like to learn how to do. I can also help you find a specific resources and pre-built learning activities that you're interested in. So a little bit of help with the search functionality of the site. So if you have a question, you can enter it at any time using the chat box if you're joining us on YouTube, or the comment box if you're joining us on Facebook. I will be watching the chat throughout today's session and am answering questions as they come in. So already in the session, we've talked a little bit about resources available through one of the many organizations under the Smithsonian umbrella, Smithsonian Libraries. So again, if you have a question at any time, please feel free to enter it in the chat. Just looking through the chat now, I see Dale has joined us. Dale is an intern who previously worked with us here at the Center for Learning and Digital Access. It's always good to see you, Dale. Today, I'm just answering questions about the Learning Lab, so won't be able to show your collection. Thank you again for tuning in and watching, and thank you all for being patient with my cat, who's a big Learning Lab fan. So while I wait for the next question to come in, I'm going to turn off my webcam for a moment, but I will still be here, still watching the chat, and I'll come back as soon as the next question arrives. So see you soon. Hi, everybody. If you're just joining us, we're in the middle of today's Smithsonian Learning Lab online office hours. Um, this is a great time to get questions that you have about the Learning Lab answered. Throughout this hour from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern, I'm here at my computer ready to answer any questions you have about the Learning Lab. So if you have a question, you can submit it using the chat box if you're joining us on YouTube or the comment box if you're joining us on Facebook. I can help with things like a general introduction to the Learning Lab, what it is and how it works, an introduction to some of the tools of the platform. Maybe you've already built your first Learning Lab collection, but now you want to add some interactivity to it, like quiz questions or text that you wrote. I can help you with that. I can also help you find resources and pre-built Learning Lab collections, a word we use to refer to interactive learning experiences on the site that can support you in whatever you're working on right now. So again, if you have a question, you can submit it at any time using the chat box on YouTube or the comment box on Facebook. While I wait for the next question to come in, I'm going to turn off my webcam, but I will still be here, still watching the chat, and I'll come back as soon as the next question arrives. So, see you soon. Hi, if you're just joining us, we're about 15 minutes from the end of today's Smithsonian Learning Lab online office hours. We hold these office hours just about every Tuesday from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern. And during these times, I am here to answer any questions you have about the Learning Lab. So if you have a question, you can submit it at any time using the chat box if you're joining us on YouTube or the comment box if you're joining us on Facebook. I have been answering questions as they come in today. So again, if you have a question, you can submit it at any time. While I wait for the next question to come in, I'm going to turn off my webcam, but I will still be here, still watching the chat, and I'll come back as soon as the next question arrives. So, see you soon. All right, everyone, we are reaching the end of today's Smithsonian Learning Lab online office hours. But don't worry, we'll be back next Tuesday from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern. Again, you can keep updated with our schedule on our homepage by going to the very bottom to the Learn section, scrolling past the blog and the newsletter to our schedule of professional development and events. So next Tuesday, the 23rd, my colleague Philippa Rappaport will be joining us. If you have any questions between now and then, don't worry. You can always get in touch with our team using the question button, which is at the bottom right of every page. Here, you can contact us. So if you have a question, if you need anything, that's the best way to get in touch. It looks like it's 5 p.m., so I'm going to end the broadcast, but we'll be back next week. See you soon.